Hey everyone, welcome back to Average Joe's Tech Reviews with your host Joe. Sorry, it's been a kind of an in-between week there. Basically, I had nothing to review. To be quite honest, I had nothing, but now I do. So here I am outside, middle of nowhere. Technically not nowhere, just in the middle of a dirt parking lot somewhere. But today we're going to be looking at something pretty cool. As you know, previously I had done a review on a bunch of different things like this Jackery here, which is actually powering the microphone system right now. What we find ourselves doing is, well, let's see what's behind me. There it is. This is the Jackery Explorer. Let's get zoomed in here. I'll actually pick it up so you can see it better. This is the Jackery Explorer 1000 Pro. It's got a little bit more weight than the 500, obviously. This thing is awesome. I've only had this for a few days and I've been doing a bunch of tests, so today is the day that we're actually doing the real start of the video, when I've actually had it for 3 or 4 days now where I've been testing it out. I did a bunch of videos which we will show soon with my phone, where I'll kind of show you the things that I tested it with and things like that. But we are taking a look at the Jackery 1000 Pro here. It's got some weight, but I like the new handles here that can go down, make it easier to store. Nice rubbery grip back here. First off, let's just talk about first looks about this thing since I've had it. Again, first time I got it was kind of like, wow, this is really interesting. A lot of new features on this thing that are not on the old one. First off, first thing you see is very similar screen looking here on the front. But what's nice is, we'll just take this off now. I don't think I need to protect that anymore. We have a display that's a little bit more, you can't see it right now. I'll try to show you the display. But it has a lot more features built into it than just your typical how much of the battery is left, what watts in and what watts out. There's actually some more features on here. And when we set up the camera a little better, I'll try and actually show you everything on here on the screen. There is a light button, which I kind of freaked myself out on, which I may show you a video my wife took of me checking it out for the first time. I basically blinded myself because I was like, oh, a light button, where's the light? And then I happened to pull this down, and this really bright LED light nailed me right in the eyeballs. And it's freaking bright compared to the bulbed light that's on the 500. It has 2 settings. First time you turn it on, that's what it is. Hit it again, gets a lot brighter. Even with my sunglasses on, I'm like, ouch. And then it has the SOS function, and it's pretty bright. It's hard to miss. Press one more time, turn it off, and then it has the nice weather rubbery cover. Over here we have the DC 12 volt 10 amps right here in the front. Just like the 500 has the DC volt here, and you push the button to turn it on, just like the other one. This one has the AC, but it has 3 of them instead of the standard one that's on the 500. So it has 3 on here. 1000 watt pure sine wave, 120 volt. Push the button, turn them on. What's nice is it also has, now with the 500, I don't know if you can see it, but you can't, but here, I'll pick it up. On the 500, you had the 3 standard USB 2.0 slots that were 5 volt, 2.4 amps. Just 3 of them, press the button, turn it on, all that fun stuff. This has 4. But this one has 18 watt max now for standard USB A, and then it has USB-C 100 watt max here. Says Qualcomm Quick Charge 3.0, so not too shabby to have the USB-C, because now, I mean, obviously we live in an age where a lot of our products are now using USB-C. Like, I mean, you get an iPhone and an iPad, and they come with the plug but no power brick. So you find yourself like, hey, I can just plug it in there, no problem. Again, push the button, turns it on, ta-da, done, you're ready to rock and roll. Turn this beast around, and then we have a backside. Where the previous 500 model does not, this one does. What it has is it has your DC inputs, which basically, like if you remember, the 500 has the input on the front, this one has in the back, and it has 2 of them. And these ones are made to work with solar panels. And I think this thing can daisy chain or parallel, however they call it, up to a max of 12. So 6 going in here and 6 going in here. And actually, we're actually going to take a look at that today, because what do I have here but 2 brand new Jackery Sage 80. That's what they're called, the Sage 80 solar generators. These are brand spanking new. This is a new solar panel for this, and we'll look at this in a little bit here. And I have 2 of those. Also, besides the DC inputs, it has AC 120 volt 15A max input. What I like about this is it no longer, so I'll show you the cords that it comes with. It comes with this nice little bag. Now the Jackery 500 came with a wall plug and a auto plug, but with the wall plug it had a humongous power brick with it, okay? And even with the power brick, it would only bring in like 87 watts, I think is what it would pull out of the wall. This is the thick old bad boy that this one comes with. But what's nice is, you may get a little bit more weight from Chunky here, but you're not also having to have the big old fat power brick goes with it. But man, this is like thick old extension cord style. And all I know is that when I plug this into the wall, into this thing, and I don't know if I took a video of it charging, but maybe I'll do that later. This thing pulls like 850 something watts out from the wall outlet with this, where this thing, the 500, even with its massive power brick, was only pulling like 87 watts from the wall to charge this. So it would take quite a while to charge it, where this one, you plug it into the wall from 0 and you can get this entire 1000 watt battery charged in like slightly under 2 hours. Like, it's fast, like impressively fast. So big old monster cord here. All right, we're about to test how quickly it can charge by being plugged into a regular house plug. So here we go. We've plugged it in, and here we go. Wow, look at that. 785 watts. 760. And look at those times drop. So right now, if I was to keep this thing plugged in to want to get it to 100%, we're looking at about 1.5 hours, possibly less, to get this thing to 100%. So there you go. That is way faster and a larger input of watts compared to the 500, which I think was only running like 87 or something like that to suck in. So this thing does great, really fast. And then it comes with car plug, which is always good to have when you're traveling. Like for us, we'll be obviously using it to keep that fridge powered. All right, before we leave this dirt parking lot, we're going to do one last test of charging, and we're going to test it being charged by the car. See what kind of wattage it pulls from a vehicle with this plug. All right, here we go. Wow, not too shabby. So that, with the Jackery 500 plugged into the car, I think it was pulling about 67 watts, maybe 85 at the most. This is pulling 101, so not too shabby. So there we go. And this says it'll charge the Jackery based on the car. Take 9.7 hours to charge it, 9.3. So there you go. At least you can kind of tell that you can still charge it by the vehicle, especially if you're driving all day. And there's that little symbol, and that shows, what do you call that? You want to call that the car AC plug there, whatever you want to call it. So there you go. And then it comes with these 2 in-betweens. I'm not sure what these are for. Comes with these 2 extender caps or whatever these are. I don't remember what these are for, what they call them. Let's see in the book. Comes with a nice little book. Oh, big disappointing factor of buying this, I didn't get any Jackery stickers with this one. The Jackery 500, I got like a bunch of fun stickers. This one I did not. These are DC 7909 and DC 8020 adapters. Okay. if you say so. Other thing that is important to note on the DC input, so on the 500, if you look at the hole there, that tiny little sliver for the input, these do not fit in there at all. So this is the DC input, okay? A lot thicker middle contact there. That does not fit in the Jackery 500 at all. And yeah, that doesn't either. It fits in here, okay? So these plugs will not work with the Jackery 500, but oh, I see. That's what these are for. I knew this and I completely forgot when I'm making this video. So super thin, super thick, okay? So this is so you can use the Jackery 500 plug that in here, plug it into your 1000 as a backup charger, whatever you need. So there you go. Okay, so I'll show you some video in a minute here of running. Obviously my big test is running the Bodega Dometic fridge that we have, and I have some fun little clips of me kind of following along as it uses that. So we'll look at that in a minute. But now what we're going to do is we're going to move from looking at this thing, and now we're going to look at the solar panels. All right, so we have two of these Jackery solar generators, Sage 80s, and these are 80-watt solar generators. You may be like, gee, why didn't you get the 100-watt or the 200-watt? Well, because it was a nice, sweet deal to get it with these. So I ain't going to complain about that. They come in these nice carrying things right here. So we're going to kind of open it up and see what she looks like. Pretty simple. There it is. Nice. Nice solar panel there. Beautiful feeling. And then it's attached with a button on here. Now let me make sure I get these right. Solar Sage 80s is what this is called. Let's talk about what it comes with. You have the solar panel, right? Comes with these nice heavy-duty cords. Well, it has a cord built into it right here. And I'll try to turn this around a little bit. Let's unbutton this. There's a reason for this silver stuff, and I'll talk about it in a second. But let's just talk about what we're seeing here. All right, so we have this nice handle that can fold down, okay? Comes with one singular cord, nice protective thing for the glass paneling here. Take a look at this bad boy here. This is the back. Has a nice kickstand here, okay? Goes out to about that far, okay? Has its own built-in plug right here. Plugs into itself for safe storage. Has that thicker plug that goes in the DC output, okay? Put this down for a second. All right, comes with these nice little cords here. These are the extension. Each bag has one. Nice long extension. This can be as part of the parallel process to extend the space between the solar panels here, the two of them. Also, it can be set up to where you parallel them because they can stretch to each other, and then run both extensions to like wherever you are with your battery, so you can have your solar panels, you know, maybe a good distance away to have better sun compared to where you're camping, trees, whatever. What I found interesting is discovered this on my own without reading the manual. So standard, you know, male and female. Then it has this nice little cap here, right? I thought like a guitar TRS cord that was just like, you know, angled so you could plug it in well. Well, no, it's not. Notice the tip there, that male, super thin. This is so you can use this to plug in to the older model Jackeries, like this Jackery 500. Boom. Which means you can now solar charge. I can now solar charge both Jackeries if I want to. So let's talk about how we set this up. Right now, the sun is at this angle right now. I'm trying to make sure I can't tell if the camera can see me, but it's kind of pointing that way. The point of this silvery material is because the new Sage 80s, what I read about, a new feature with this particular solar panel is not only does it obviously get solar energy from the front, but it has some solar paneling also in the back that can collect solar energy off the reflection of this material. And basically to set everything up, just, you know, simple pimple here. I just made that word up, so, you know, get over it. Okay. And basically you set up however you need to in the sun. Get that cord out there. So with the way the sun is currently set up, okay, let's look at the shadows. Looks like we need to turn it a little bit this way. And there we go. Now that is facing the sun in its most nominal angle at the moment to get 100% of that solar, that beautiful solar. I feel like I got to roll solar footage, like I'm talking like I'm the bean guy. You know, let's roll that beautiful bean footage, right? So, pretty easy to set up. Comes with a nice bag to protect it. They have a little bit of a weight to them, but not too heavy. It's like carrying, if I was to compare the weight of this, it's like carrying a TV dinner stand from way back in the day. Like when I was a kid in the 90s and late 80s, and we had the, you know, those wooden and sometimes metal TV dinner stands, and you could set them up in front of you on the couch and eat dinner. So it definitely has some weight to it. So, you know, it's not like you're going to be carrying the battery and both these at the same time, just for the weight distribution. So these are 80 watts, okay? Which means you're going to get a maximum 80 watts out of that solar panel into the Jackery, okay? And it's just literally plug and, well, power. Plug and play, plug and power. Basically, as soon as you plug it in, Jackery knows it, and it just starts charging. No questions asked. All right, I have both solar panels now set up, not plug and played yet, okay? Now, what we're gonna do, because they are a little spaced apart and I don't think I can stretch, yeah, so what we're gonna do is use one of those in-between cords, okay? So, bam, here it is. That's all we're gonna do, take off that L-shaped, and we're just gonna male to female and male to female, okay? One. And no, I need to go here. Okay, all right, now they are paralleled. And really all now we gotta do is plug in the battery, which we can now, that's the one we just used, so this one. Here's the other one from the other one. Nice of these kind of super cool Velcro wraps to keep the wires all neat. What we're gonna do is plug it in. Okay, boom. We now have it tied to this nice, beautiful extension. Pop back the DC connection back here, and there's no perfect rhyme or reason to whichever one you want to use, and boom. Plug it in, screen turns on, and there we go. Out of a possible 160 watts of, that would be 100% capability of solar panels, which I don't know if you know, that's not exactly possible. What do we got? We're running 135 watts currently charging. So now let's talk about the numbers you see on that little screen. Now what's nice is the screen constantly turns itself off, so I have to constantly push the button to make sure it stays on. All right, what do we got going on here? On the screen we have the percentage of the battery left. So I ran this down to almost 20% when I was charging the Bodega refrigerator, which we'll show those videos in a minute here. Okay, we have the output. Right now we're not running any output at all on this device, so we are trying to charge it. We have the input. We have the wattage coming in, 135 watts, and then the number under it, 6.3H. That is the amount of time until this battery will be fully charged based on that wattage input that's happening right now. Okay, so that's, I like that. That is a cool feature on this screen compared to the 500. this actually gives you an estimate based on the wattage that's coming in, how long until it will be charged 100%. So obviously 6.3 hours from now, it will be dark. But at least you know, looking at it, how much you're going to be gaining on this screen. So that's what we have. Also on here, okay, gotta take my sunglasses off to see. There's a little icon down here that shows a solar panel. I don't know if it's hard to see or not, but it's a solar panel telling what is the input type. If you plug it into the wall, it'll be a plug. If we want to charge something off of this, which, like this, I have a plug for my phone. It's not a USB-C, but there you go. Let's push the button. Okay. Now you have your output wattage and then another number. That number is how many hours until this device will be drained. So obviously it's 99.9 hours because number one, it's only pulling 5 watts, but number two, kind of the most important factor, is it's currently being charged while it's outputting. So if we were to unplug that, okay, let's unplug the solar input, okay, we are now looking at 6 watts. It's going to be 99.9 hours until this thing runs down to 0 at 21%. So there you go. Obviously, if I'm running something bigger and stronger, it will actually shrink that down. And we'll see that in a few minutes because I'm about to show you, I'll show you the videos of us looking at how long it takes to charge the Bodega 60-watt fridge. All right, I'm in my garage with the Jackery Explorer 1000 Pro. I'm about to plug in this right here, which goes to my Dometic fridge, which is also here in my messy garage. I'm going to be setting it for one side will be the freezer and one side will be the fridge, and we're going to see how long this thing will run my Dometic fridge. And so the time, of course I can't see the time because I'm recording a video, but we'll get there. So let's see, let's turn on AC power. Let's plug it in. All right, that beep means the fridge just turned on, and there we go. What we see here is me working on the app to get everything up and running on the Dometic fridge, and then showing you the timer that I had started as soon as I had plugged it in on the phone there. The only reason you can't hear me is because for some reason the audio decided not to record when I did the phone. All right, we're back looking at the machine because I only just have been running it. Just to kind of show you. Right now the fridge looks like it's pulling about 32 watts, which shows that this could run right now for 25.6 hours, according to this little time there. That actually is how much time you have left on the battery at 100%. So it may go longer than that because the wattage will usually drop down to about 7 or 6 watts. Once the fridge and freezer areas are at temperature, it then drops the wattage so it's not sucking so much. So we shall see. All right, I switched it to eco mode. So far it's dropped from 46 down to 31 watts. It's been bouncing 30, 31. The compressor is still running, I think, because the fridge I have set to 35 and it's at 36 in there. So I think what it's doing is it's still running to get down probably to 34. So we'll see how this looks in a little bit. And all right, the compressor is turned off on the fridge freezer, and it has currently dropped down. I'll just hit this again so it stays on. We've currently dropped down to 1 watt being sent out to the fridge, and now we've jumped up to 95, 97 hours until the battery drains, and it keeps climbing. So we'll see how this runs. I'm going to keep the timer clock running on this until this battery is down to about 20%, and we'll see how we look. Here we are at 30 hours and 34 minutes, and we are here at the tail end of hitting that 21% because, you know, the instruction manual says try not to go below 20 for the health of the battery, And so that's what we're at now. And I think that's a pretty decent. I mean, that's just good. I mean, that means you could be running a Dometic fridge pretty much all day, all night. And if you did want to run it to zero, it would probably run all day tomorrow. And also, we'll show it later, but I do have the solar panels that came as part of the package. So imagine having solar panels, pop those outside. You're going to do fine if you're doing any kind of off-the-grid stuff. So, as usual, I run into some sort of technical difficulty while filming, and what I didn't realize is when I sat down on the edge of the vehicle there to start giving you my final thoughts on this beautiful Jackery Explorer 1000 Pro, the plug had actually unplugged itself from the Jackery 500, which obviously cut the audio, and the camera still continued to believe that it had audio coming into it. So that's where we find ourselves right now. So you're just going to see my body blibber blabbering right there, but let's do a final rundown of this product. If you're a person like ourselves that has a large family and you like to travel and you find yourself wanting to have this type of item to run something like the Dometic fridge that we have, this is a perfect thing for you. If you are a person that likes to go camping, likes to go RVing, likes to find yourself in those boondocking situations, whether you camp in your car, in a camper, or drivable, or what have you, or just a tent, I believe this product is perfect. Now, obviously, I could say that the 500 can do just as well, depending on your situation. What we discovered was, at least for our size family, having this size of a battery actually gives us a little bit more benefits than the 500, knowing that it pulls a little bit more wattage out of the vehicle when driving. Also, having the solar panels as an option to continue trickle charging it basically throughout the day, especially if we just want to stop the van at a rest stop or whatever and chill and relax and keep the fridge running. Or, one of the things we tested that I didn't videotape was we ended up testing a hot water boiling, little plug-in hot water boiler, basically. Don't ask me what the technical term is for it, but we got it running. Now, that device would not run on the Jackery 500 because it needed about 850 watts to get that boiler working, where the Jackery 1000 it can handle that. The other thing that both Jackeries could not handle was our electric skillet, but that's okay. Again, it's a matter of what you might need or are looking to use at this time. So is it for you? Well, if you're like us, like I said in the beginning, if you're a large family and you feel like this is something you can use on a family trip basis, vacations, weekend getaways, then I highly recommend this product. I believe if you can find it for on sale somewhere would probably be the best thing to do, especially if you can get it like in tandem with those solar panels. But that's what I would recommend doing. This product is obviously brand spanking new. It's their newest product, this 1000 Pro, so I don't know if they'll be upgrading the other Jackeries to a similar thing, but having the multiple plugs, the car adapter plug, and the USB-C and USB 2.0 plugs is just amazing to me. It just a lot more flexibility for charging all our devices. The only thing I think I might want to test it out down the road is maybe seeing how it does with my high-end laptop, which is a humongous brick to it and can suck a lot of power. When using it on the Jackery 500, I think in just a couple hours of even just doing, I think I was just doing word processing. Well, I mean, I was doing more than that because the software I use can pull a lot of the CPU, but what I'm getting at is like the 500 dropped to about 43% in just a few hours. So what do you do with it if it's not for you? Well, then maybe the Jackery 500 is for you, and that's perfectly fine. Now, positives and negatives. Obviously, I have a lot of positives with this Jackery. Now, we've only had it for about less than a week, so it's not like we've had to do an extensive trip with it, and obviously we've done that with the 500, so we're not really thinking there's going to be any downers from this point. Downer is just really the clunky weight of it. That's about it. That's the only complaint I have between that and the solar panels, is when carrying all of them together, you find yourself, you're not going to want to carry all three items together because they can be a little weighty. But beyond that, that's my only negative thing on this. I think when it comes to these batteries, it's think about what you need and maybe get a step higher. So like the 500 worked for us, but having this 1000 is now that step higher for us, where especially if we're parked somewhere overnight with the van, like let's say in a hotel or at someone's house, we can keep the fridge in the van and know that it'll run comfortably without having to bother with it, without having to worry about running an extension cord to the battery to keep it charged. But the fact is we can actually let it go overnight without much worry and then be able to charge it while we drive or bring it in the house later, whatever. You know what I'm getting at. So I have a lot of positives with this device. I highly recommend it. I love the handle on it. I love that it has the rubber grip and the fact that it locks down. The fact that it does that to me, when you look at the Jackery 500 with its kind of loop and permanent handle that can't move, it doesn't have the rubber, so it's easy to slip and drop it. Secondly, if you want to store it under something like maybe under a seat or under a small table or chairs, wherever you're trying to hide it out of the way, especially like in a vehicle, it's nice to know that this handle is not permanent, so I can just lock it down and slide it nicely into anywhere I need to hide it, or I just don't want it to be visible, things like that. So that's what I love about that. I love that handle. It's obviously got a little bit more weight to it, and I love the new screen. Having more, I don't know if you want to say options on the screen, but more visibility of what's going on with your Jackery is really nice. It's nice to see not only the wattage coming in and the wattage going out, but also the type of wattage that's going out, whether it's doing whatever you're pumping out there at the 120 AC or doing like the USBs. It's nice that it gives you those things. It also tells you what is plugged into it to keep it charged, whether it's the car, solar panel, plug. I love that the percentage also has the times. Not only do you have the percentage of the battery left, but you have time. You have time till it's charged and time until it's empty. So at least you have some type of guesstimation based on the stuff that you're using to find out how long until the battery is going to be done. So that I really appreciate just the intuitiveness of that. I really appreciate that. And I guess my only other negative is that the screen always blanks out, which, sure saves 0.01% of a wattage, but it would be nice, and I saw nothing in the manual about was there a way to keep the screen on, like, especially if you've got it doing the dual charge where it's charging and sending a charge out. It would be nice that you could have the screen constantly on, so if you're not sitting right next to it and let's say you're doing something, we could just glance over and see and go, oh, okay, cool, that's where we're at. In fact, I think one of the things I would love to see added to the Jackery is maybe some type of Bluetooth connection with your phone, kind of like the fridge, where I can control the fridge, I can see where it's at, the temperature, change it if I need to. I think it would be really cool to have that functionality with a Jackery. That would be my suggestion to them down the road, is to have some type of possible Bluetooth connection so that you wouldn't always have to be near your battery to know where it's at, but you could, as long as you're within that couple 100 feet radius for Bluetooth, you could just pop open an app and see, oh, okay, my battery is at this percentage, and it tells you what you should be planning for ahead of time, whatever. So that's my only feedback on that. So again, I highly recommend this product. I think it's great, even if you're a single guy or just a couple, having a Jackery battery like this for your travels, keeping it in you wouldn't want to keep it in your car in the hot summer because it can overheat. I think its operating temperatures, according to the manual, are from 4 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. So, 14 to 104, I think is what it was. And so because of that, you don't want to keep it in a hot car, because then you could damage the battery and then it won't want to work because it'll give you the high heat warning, which I got a few times in the Jackery 500 when I was running the fridge in my small black car. So there you go. Another feature, or the other reason I think it's a great addition to you, your family, your business, is the fact that this, especially this larger one, the 1000, can be used to run certain appliances and could be great for an emergency situation, whether you're keeping a radio plugged in, keep your phones charged, whatever, for communication. The ability to keep, like I said, I could run this thing can run a coffee maker. In fact, I can even run my smoker outside. Both of them actually can, because I think the smoker only pulls like 285 watts. So, it can run things that can cook. It can run things that make hot drinks. You can keep your things charged, and especially with this 1000, you can keep things charged for quite a while. So if there ends up being no power, you have something. And, I was thinking along the lines, like, what if you're driving? Like for me, because I travel around the state of Colorado a lot, for preaching at different churches, I can find myself driving through the mountains and maybe getting in a car accident that is unplanned. And if I had the Jackery in the car, at least I would have a way to keep my phone charged, to just have for emergency use. Now, I don't know if it'll keep an electric blanket up and running. I don't think we have one. But if I had one in the car in case of emergency, at least I know I could somewhat keep warm, you know. I might even want to try testing it and see if it runs one of our bathroom portable heaters. It would be interesting to see if it can, what kind of wattage gets pulled out of those. I think it's a lot, but I don't know. But I digress. But what I'm saying is this is a great item to have for emergency situations, whether at your house, in your vehicle, whatever it is. At least you know that you at least have a means to keep things charged or keep things running, like a radio, stuff like that. So that's all I got. This is Joe with Average Joe's Tech Reviews. Please like, subscribe, comment. I try to communicate with you all, and I love that. So this is me saying peace out, and please ignore the guy that's just yapping in the video because he has no voice, and it's just me blabbering. So have a great week.